Hello and welcome to Noise Kitchen Studios. It is I, Jason. And today we're talking about how I learned to play piano, which, there's a lot of ways that people learn piano. Take lessons, play in church, all that kind of stuff. I had a job where it was imperative that I learned to play piano because prior to that, I wasn't really that good at piano. Not saying I'm great now, but I had to actually learn on the job to play. And I think it's worth sharing for a few reasons. One, you never know what opportunities in life are going to present themselves. And let me tell you, this one was left field for sure. So it's kind of a story about just going with it. And we're gonna have some give you some lessons for if you're an intro piano player. Let's see if this is your first time at this channel. Thanks for joining me. I'll stop playing. I can't play and talk at the same time. If this is your first time at the channel, welcome and like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you have any ideas of what to do, something you want to see. I'm always looking for a new idea because I'm terrified of running out of them. But I think this is like the 5th time I've done this intro, but I think this is going to be the intro, so we're just going to get to it, okay? Love ya. So I must confess, that intro is kind of clickbait because I didn't technically learn piano. I learned the king of instruments. It's not quite the Bach piece, but close. I got a job at a company that built, repaired, and tuned pipe organs. And that's what it was. And it's the craziest job I probably will ever have. I have had a lot of jobs. Nothing is ever going to be as nuts as that gig was. I found it because a friend of mine, kind of a mentor almost, he knew I was looking for a job because prior I was working at like a vape company. It's the 2010s, guys. Everybody was vaping it up. I was a social media manager, got fired, and I was looking for a gig, and Dwayne knew that I was a musician, so he's hooked me up. Dwayne was the kind of man that he knew a lot of people, truly like a man of in everyone's area. But yeah, and it was a crazy job, and I should probably give a little bit of an explanation as to what a pipe organ is, just for the sake of it, and then we'll go into how exactly it was my job to play piano, or I would get fired. Basically, is it. So, in case you've never seen a pipe organ, you've probably heard a pipe organ. If you play a lot of video games, organ music's made their way into a lot of music. Castlevania, ooh, great soundtrack. But a pipe organ is, in theory, a pretty straightforward instrument. You have a giant air compressor. This big old thing looks like a turbo you put on a diesel truck, and that runs air into this box, this air box, where basically there's a top on it, and it's sealed with leather. And this box has air constantly pumping into it at a regular PSI. It has to be the same PSI. I'll get to that later, or why. And the air from that runs up into smaller boxes, essentially. And those boxes, that's where the pipes sit up on top. And what you do is the person at the console hits a button, and it sends a current to the box the pipes are sitting on. And a little flap opens up. So basically, when you press a key, it opens up and air goes through. And when you cut it off, the air goes away. That is the simple explanation of how a pipe organ works. But in practice, it is like there's a beauty to it in the sense of how it's so simple in concept, and by virtue of that, it expands into some of the truly the most monolithic instruments mankind has ever created. The Wanamaker up in Philadelphia is like a theater organ, technically, meaning it's not in a church. I think it's the world's largest organ. I could be wrong, but it is crazy. The console is like as big as my room. And that's kind of the cool thing about them is that a pipe organ could be the size of my table, or it could literally be the size of a football stadium. And things just sort of map themselves out. Like the concept is so simple that you can just build it out and keep building and boxes going into boxes, and it's wild. It truly is wild. You should go watch some videos on YouTube just of people walking through them. That's what I was doing. I was walking through pipe organs. I was trying not to break stuff when I was in them. hucking pipe trays over top of like other pipes that are worth thousands upon thousands of dollars. The complexity of working on pipe organs is you're trying to like do manual labor, but you're surrounded by a bunch of things that if you mess it up, oh god, it's gonna be the worst day ever. If you drop a pipe tray and a bunch of other pipes, everything's destroyed because the pipes themselves are incredibly fragile. They're made out of mostly lead so that they vibrate better. Yeah, don't mess up. One other thing that's really fascinating about pipe organs is that they are technically the world's first synthesizer. So the way that a pipe organ works is you have sort of like fundamental tones called the principals. That's what these sounds are here technically. There's a little bit of extra stuff there. But they're called the principal pipes, and usually they're like 4 foot is the base. 4 foot basically is sort of like where middle C is at. Yeah, I know that sounded well. And then like the larger the pipes get, the lower the tonality is, and the shorter the pipes are, the higher the tonality. Sort of like imagine a flute. Big flute, low pitch, small flute, high pitch. But the thing about pipe organs is that the sounds of them, and every sound always equates to some sort of box full of pipes. There, there are wild stuff. As anything that the mind can imagine, someone's probably made a pipe for. There's pipes that have reeds on them, basically meant to mimic like a brass section. There's string pipes. There's these pipes that basically mimic flutes. They're made out of wood. They can be these gigantic pieces. I think they're usually made out of poplar. I could be wrong. I actually never thought what they were made of. These giant like wooden pipes with these stops on them. There's like glockenspiels, like things usually they'd be at the back of the organ. These just giant glockenspiels. You hit a key and like they'd be like a mallet on each one. You hit those, and it's insane. And that's why I mean it's the world's first synthesizer, because similar to how a synthesizer originally was meant to mimic other sounds, a pipe organ is doing exactly that. It's essentially a instrument designed to mimic an orchestra but played by one person. And you know, I met a lot of not all, but a lot of lovely single men who love these things. They dedicated their lives to it. And I get it. I get it. There's something about there's an awe to it. They are the largest, most complicated instruments we have ever produced as a species, and there's something to behold. And I get it. I really do. Not enough to dedicate my life to it, but yeah. But I really truly understand why some people would be like, wife and kids. Psh, I'm gonna go work on a pipe organ for the rest of my life. That's not a diss, I promise. So now I should explain why it was my job to hit the key right. So let's do that. But first, a lesson in entropy. It's hard enough keeping a guitar in tune with itself, or a bass. That's just 4 strings on an instrument. How do you keep an instrument with 1,000, multiple thousands of pipes in tune with itself? How do you do that? The lesson is you don't, but you try. You try so hard to keep all of this sound in tune with itself. And that's where the tuning of the pipe organ comes in. The company I worked for, we definitely built some organs, that's for sure. But the main bread and butter, I think, of a lot of pipe organ industries these days is still tuning. And so I was the key holder. Unglamorous job, but someone's got to do it. And so how you tune a pipe organ is, in theory, pretty simple. I was not very good at it. They never really trusted me with the actual tuning, but I was a damn good key holder. So basically, we'll use the principal pipes because the easiest ones to explain. A principal pipe is literally just like, if you imagine a pipe in a pipe organ, it's that. It's basically like a tube, got a little like mouth at the bottom, and at the top there's a collar. And kind of like with a slide whistle, if you knock the collar up, the pitch goes down because it's getting longer. You knock the collar shorter, the pitch goes higher because it's getting shorter. And you literally, a person who is very dexterous with this like little piece of like this iron tuning rod kind of thing. It looks like something you clean a gun barrel out with. But basically, you go up and you start tapping. And you just tap. And you make minor adjustments, and you're trying to bring things into tune with themselves. And the way that it always works is you start with the principal. The principal really is the fundamental tone. So you get that in tune with itself, and then you trust this in tune thing, and you start to break that out. And you basically cascade everything in tune ideally, across all of these organs. And of course, nothing stays in tune forever. So, and if I'm honest with you, most churches only use pipe organs twice a year. Once for Easter, once for Christmas. So about a couple weeks before every Easter and the month before Christmas, we hit the road. I'd be driving around North and South Carolina, and we would just be tuning organs. It was a lot. It was weird. It taught me a lot about touring. Actually, I've never actually been on tour, but the mindset's the same. Being on the road, sharing a hotel room with your boss. Oh boy. Oh, I blocked that out. It's definitely teaches you a certain mindset, but essentially it's a two-man job, or a two-person job, I should say. There's a lot of women key holders. I'm sure there's a lot of women tuners out there too. But basically, one person's hitting pipes, and one person's hitting keys, and I was the key holder. And okay, after some delay, we're finally gonna get into how this wild job taught me to be a decent piano player. Decent. I tell myself decent. I'm not good. So the reason why key holding made me able to play piano is essentially I had to learn every key on the keyboard and be able to hit it without much of a delay. It's basically like a gun was to my head, and it's like F sharp 2. Yes, 2. G sharp 5. A sharp. B3. Like, dude, I didn't know the notes on the keyboard before this at all, dude. I didn't know any of it. And it's like, basically, my boss, hardworking guy, bit of a prick though. I gotta be honest with you, but you know, I mean that lovingly in hindsight. But basically, and I can see it from his standpoint, because basically you're sitting up in the organ. It's so loud, dude. These things are so loud. It's a pipe organ, and like they're just trying to hit the notes as fast as we can, because we're always like running behind schedule because we're tuning so much. And basically, like somebody's up yonder, up in the organ. They're like, F sharp 3, and it's like, fuck, oh fuck, oh. Go up. Like that kind of thing. So I remember the first time I had to tune one, or first time I was key holding, like they hand me a little piece of paper with the notes on it, and the specific way organs are tuned. That will get into the exercise I'll talk about. But basically, I had to, like, under duress, instantly know where every single C is, every single B is, every single F sharp. I keep going back to F sharp. It's a good note. A sharp. The B always would mess me up. So what they would do is they would call like the letter and then the number for the octave. And B always messed me up because I would always go the B down. Oh my God, they got so pissed at this. Oh, so many memories. But I would always, like, when someone would say B, I always assume they meant that B. No, Jason, they mean the B above, which I think is a major seventh. Yeah. So B3. So that's why I know the notes on the keyboard, is because I had to know them. Because, oh my God, dude. Like, I got so pissed if I messed it up. On top of that, the organs are loud and there's like all kinds of stuff going on. So basically, like, you're locked in trying to hear like the next note being called, which was actually really good ear training. It taught me to listen for human voices amongst chaos. And that was basically it. It was just like, C5! Like, and then like, go down. That's not to say that there hasn't been like somebody in Russia who probably was learning to play piano and their piano teacher had like a Makarov pointed at their head and they're like, do not mess this next note up, like that kind of thing. But you know, sometimes learning a music under duress isn't the worst thing, because it imprinted something in me that remains to this day. It went a little dormant for a while, but I've been playing piano more, so it's come back. I always think about, like, you know, when we're all starting to play piano, we always usually like write the notes and the keys. That doesn't ever work either. It's just like sometimes in life there's no better way to learn something except when it's under like extreme stress. At least you'll have it locked in for the rest of your life. So that's what key holding is in general. Basically holding notes, then like holding octaves, then going up. Because what you would do is you'd start with one note and then like tune it to the note below and then the note below that. And this organ's a fake one, so it's obviously in tune with itself reasonably. But yeah. Go up, C sharp. Oh, I'm getting fired. Hit the wrong note. It was real, dude. It was real. It was crazy. So that's why I know the notes on the piano, essentially. So we're going small screen Jason for this point because we're getting to our first exercise. So pipe organs are laid out in two ways. One is chromatically, where basically the largest pipe starts on one side and the smallest pipe is on the other one, kind of like this. Like that. The other way, though, is essentially the pipe organ is divided, I guess, whole step wise. So all the C pipes are on one side. And on the other side, all the whole note pipes are on the other side, starting with C sharp. And that's basically a really good way. And the way you would tune is you start on one side, go up, they go to the other side, start C sharp. But basically, this exercise is really good just for getting like your hands used to hitting the notes. So basically, if you imagine you're just hitting the notes in a whole step, so then maybe drop a half step. Can't see around this mic. Even that sound, even that whole note sound brings back memories. But that's basically it, and I still do this one to this day. Just a really easy way to get your fingers used to going up and down the notes in a meaningful way. Something a little more complicated than chromatically. And he's like, yeah, that's really it. And just for the sake of it, let's go back to piano and make it a little more relative. Because obviously, and this is why I lied in the intro, because, you know, the piano keys are the same no matter what. The source might be different, but still. That's basically it. Yeah. I think I really wanted to make this video because I've really been getting more into piano. Actually, once I finish this video, I'm going to sit and just comp on some keys for a while. I love jazz, who doesn't? Robert Glasper being my favorite modern pianist. But the piano is the most important instrument to learn, no matter what you do. You cannot do anything else but sing. And why is that? What is it about the piano that makes it such a useful tool for understanding Western music? And I've been trying to figure out what that is. Like, what is it that makes... Every time I work on piano, I become a better musician. I can hear tones better. I can understand chords better. What is it that makes the piano fundamental to being better at what you do? And I got a couple theories. One is that a piano is a purely linear instrument. The lowest notes on one side, the highest notes on the other. Guitar is more complicated. Strings are tuned to different pitches and you're playing different things. But at the end of the day, everything on a piano is just one line going up and down. And I think that really translates into, for me at least, being able to better understand what is going on? Like why is it that Robert Glasper can play these chords? Let's see if I can beef it. Yeah, get a little better. Something about the linearity of piano, and also I think the spacing in the chords just really helps you understand what's going on in piano or in music in general. You know, I started a piano training book a while back. I never finished it, but even halfway through, I walked away from it being able to I can guess chords that are going to come in songs, and I'm usually right. I'm always more interested when I'm wrong and it's something unexpected, but yeah. And I mean, you don't have to have a real piano to practice this. This is not a real piano. This is me playing on my Keylab Essential 49 Arturia MIDI keyboard. It's a pretty good keyboard. But I think I'm just here today to try to preach the gospel of practicing piano. I guess, you could have your significant other like scream notes from across the room and you try to hit them. That's probably a good analog or a good cosplay for what I had to do with this job. But yeah, I think that I said in the last video, but I'm really pretty dedicated to doing more piano stuff. Mostly because I just want to be able to walk into a bar and play some sick jazz chords for my significant other or the woman that catches my eye. And I think that might be literally a reason to learn piano, so you too can catch the gander of someone who you have their eye, or you're trying to get their eye, because everybody loves it when someone drops some sick jazz chords at a piano bar. Not that chord. Yeah, that's a good one. Nope. No, missing it. There we go. Yeah. And that's really about it. Pretty simple video this week. I think next week maybe I got some ideas. But otherwise, thank you for joining me on a more casual Noise Kitchen Studios episode. We'll be back next week. All right. That's a terrible one. I got in somewhere good. No, fuck. Ooh. Yeah, we're back.